It's Pastor Smith, and we are still working our way through Paul's first letter to the Thessalonian Christians, and we're in chapter 5 now. We've got verses 1 through 11. The heading in my Bible says, "The Day of the Lord." And the Day of the Lord is a pretty common motif that is used in the Scriptures. It's referring ultimately to the last day when Jesus will return. Sometimes we call that Judgment Day. And Paul's talking about this, how, and Jesus says this too, how the day of the Lord will come like a thief in the night, basically meaning no one knows when it's going to come, and it'll be surprising. But he's saying here to the Thessalonians that, you guys don't need to be surprised, because it's not like you are sleepwalking through your life. He talks about, are we people of the day or people of the night? Are we awake or are we asleep? And that's really important for us to ponder as well. This is not just for the Thessalonians, but it's for the Ohioans of 2022 as well, to consider these words. Or if maybe you're watching this from a state other than Ohio, but St. Paul is in Ohio, of course. But there is this. It just builds on this theme of being ready, of being prepared. And Jesus talks about that quite a bit, especially in some of the parables that he tells in Matthew chapter 25, which Paul would have been familiar with. So he's kind of riffing off of those things as well. But he's encouraging them. And that's the last thing he says, encourage one another and build one another up with the knowledge that the day of the Lord is coming, but it's not for your destruction. It's not for the wrath of God to be poured out upon you. That's already been poured out upon Christ, so that it doesn't get poured out on you. But he's saying, he died for us so that whether we are awake or asleep, we might live with him. Now, that gets a little bit confusing, because he's talking about being awake or being asleep. You can be sleepwalking through life, not following God, not being prepared, and then, oh no, God, Jesus has come back. But he's also talking about whether you're awake as in still living, or whether you're asleep as in dead and waiting for Christ to come back to raise all the dead. Whatever the case may be, if you trust in Jesus, you might live with him. That's why Jesus died for you. So, what does this mean for us today? How can we avoid, sleepwalking? How can we avoid, living in the night, doing things secretly, so that, I can kind of do all these things at night, so that, the day of the Lord's probably far off. I'm gonna get ready for it at some point. No, Jesus, Paul and Jesus are very firm. It's gonna come unexpectedly, but you can be prepared. Just like other things in life, you can be prepared for something. You don't know when it's going to happen, but you can be prepared for it to happen. And how do we do that? Well, we are constantly attached to Christ in his word. We are praying to him daily. We are connected to other followers of Jesus in a community of a church. These are very basic things that Satan will try to keep you from doing, but they are very, very basic things that can keep us prepared. The Holy Spirit works through these things to keep us prepared for the day of the Lord, when he will raise all who have fallen asleep in Jesus and take all who are still awake, and we will live with him forever. So some good suggestions for us to be able to stay awake and stay ready for the day of the Lord. May you be encouraged, just like the Thessalonians were 2,000 years ago, as you read these words today from 1 Thessalonians 5. God's blessings to you.